Stefon Diggs admitting that he was in the worst mental space of his career last season with the Buffalo Bills, further reiterating why Bills Mafia decided to part ways. In a recent sit-down interview with Stefon Diggs, we found the article on GQ Sports Magazine. Diggs sat down and flat out said that he was in the worst mental space that he's been in since he's been in the league. First point I want to make is why have a wide receiver here in Buffalo who's in the worst mental space, clearly proving that Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills are in a much better position this year in 2024, having a lot more fun, not having a wide receiver distract us because he's in the worst mental space that he has been in. Here's the GQ Sports article that was written, Stefon Diggs on leaving Buffalo, his fresh start in Houston, and just overall covering his journey from getting into the NFL to the Minnesota Vikings, being traded to the Buffalo Bills, and now being on Houston. The article states that last season, Stefon Diggs started off the season in Buffalo hot with more than 100 receiving yards in 5 of his first 6 games under Ken Dorsey, but he didn't go over 100 yards and he notched only 2 scores for the rest of the season after we transitioned to Joe Brady. And sure enough, when Joe Brady took over, we heard rumors and players saying, like, we're having a lot more fun. The fun is back. And we saw players smiling, players running over to one another, helping each other off the field, being selfless, being teammates. Everyone is going to eat under Joe Brady. And apparently, Stefon Diggs didn't like it. The article says if it didn't look like Diggs was having fun, that's because he wasn't. Diggs went on to say that last year I was in the worst mental space that I've been in since I've been in the league. If I'm not in a good space, obviously that's not best for me. So that's when things started shaking out. This just goes to show you that Stefon Diggs is a selfish player, that he was more worried about himself versus the surrounding team and the players around him. Obviously, if Diggs isn't happy, it wasn't good for him, and he wanted out. Sure enough, I'm sure Josh Allen and all the other players on this team got a sense from Stefon Diggs that he wasn't happy, that he wanted out. In April, Stefon Diggs says that he wasn't surprised to learn that he'd been traded. We had some talks with Buffalo, Diggs said. We knew where things were going. I did, at least. So Diggs is flat out saying he knew where things were going. He said the outside world had so much speculation. I knew from the beginning of the year to the end of the year to the off season exactly what was going on. Not too much confusion at my end. So this whole blow up that we saw from Stefon Diggs to start 2023 before the season started, Stefon Diggs said he knew at that point that he was going to be traded and that he wasn't happy here in Buffalo and that things weren't going to work out the way that he wanted them to and ultimately wanted to be gone. So we had this distraction before the season even started last year in 2023 with Josh Allen, and we saw it even going back to the end of 2022 with Stefon Diggs putting his hands up in the air. So this all really transpired until the start of 2023, where Stefon Diggs wasn't happy. He already wanted to be traded at that point. He saw the writing on the wall that he likely was going to be traded. So Stefon Diggs was clearly a distraction for the 2023 Buffalo Bills, hence why we decided to part ways and start fresh for 2024. Now, Diggs went on to talk about Josh Allen and his relationship, and he says that when you first discuss Buffalo, he points out that some people make him and Allen out to be enemies, but you know, Stefon Diggs says that really isn't the truth. It's just this evil villain story that people like to brew up. Now, Stefon Diggs said, if I feel targeted or if I feel somebody saying something that's wrong, can I say something? Yes. Will I say something? No. For what? I don't gain anything from it. None of these people sign any check of mine. Diggs went on to say that there's some things that happen in Minnesota that should have never been shared. That's why I won't share them. And he said that's because he's a professional. I believe in professionalism. You don't got to talk bad about your ex-girlfriend to your new girlfriend. Now, later in the conversation, he circles back with his time in Buffalo and specifically highlights the fact that his drop in stats coincided with the Bills' decision to replace offensive coordinator Ken Dorsey. This proves that Stefon Diggs was upset with the change from Ken Dorsey to Joe Brady, and we all know Joe Brady's our new offensive coordinator. Probably why we decided to trade Stefon Diggs if he was a fan of Ken Dorsey versus Joe Brady. Diggs went on to say that the games were much different under Joe Brady versus Ken Dorsey. He said, "You can blame me. I don't mind blaming me. I got big ass shoulders, but pay attention, pay real close attention, watch the game. Of course, there's plenty of plays I want back, but there's a lot of plays that didn't go my way. I need a lot of things to go right to get the ball. You can't roll out of bed and get 800 yards in the first 8 games. Your best receivers doing that. You tell me about the last 10. What's changed? Just pay attention to what really happened and not what people are trying to act like what happened. Like for the last 10 games, I forgot how to play football, right?" So Stefon Diggs is deferring all the blame, and he said that he could take the hate, he could take the speculation that it was all his fault, but he's making a case here that his production dropped simply because of Joe Brady and the transition that happened between Ken Dorsey to Joe Brady. And we've heard Joe Brady say everyone in this offense is going to eat. We have a bunch of selfish players here. I mean, Khalil Shakir running 30 yards down the field to block and spring things free for players. That's something that Stefon Diggs was not doing for this team. And we really were trying to keep defenses honest, spreading the ball around, making things happen. I mean, if they want to double cover Diggs, then we have Dalton Kincaid, Khalil Shakir, and other weapons. So Stefon Diggs saying, hey, look, like it really depends on the offensive coordinator. It depends on how defenses are playing him. And it really didn't have anything to do with him and his production drop. So Stefon Diggs trying to reveal his side of the story actually reveals that real problem that the Buffalo Bills had with him and why we're in such a better position than what we've been in years past with Stefon Diggs. Going back to the start of 2023 season, Stefon Diggs saw the writing on the wall at that point that he was going to be traded and that he didn't want to be here in Buffalo anymore. You know for a fact that other players got this sense that he was a cancer in the locker room, that we weren't a true team. And we all know that football is the ultimate team sport. There is not another sport in the world that relies on the team like football does. And if you have one sort of cancer, one upset player, that's all it really takes to have a dysfunctional team. And now the Bills are happier than we've ever been, helping players off the turf. Stefon Diggs is no longer here. Yes, he's a great player. He's got all the talent, and I give him all the credit in the world for helping Josh Allen progress to the quarterback that he is. But at the end of the day, we're a much more selfless team. Everyone's going to eat under Joe Brady here in Buffalo, which at the end of the day keeps defenses honest and will ultimately make us a better team, more productive, and likely a better record in 2024. I appreciate you guys. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit like, subscribe for future content. Also, check the links down below in the description for the BNC chicken wing merch. You guys can get free shipping, sizes small through 5XL. Also, Course Careers, they have a bunch of different free introduction courses. That's personally how I landed my full-time remote job this year in 2024. But I appreciate you. Hit like, subscribe, and go Bills.